I'll be honest, I have never in my life been as excited to see a film as I was for Project Hail Mary. My expectations were borderline unhealthy, and there are two main reasons for that. The first is the book it's based on. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm an awful reader. I'm one of those people who wants to read books but finds it very hard to commit. Project Hail Mary, however, is the only exception. I devoured it. I couldn't put it down. And for the first time ever, I got to experience that amazing feeling of being completely immersed in a book. And the second reason for my excitement is on the cover of it. What can I say? I really like Ryan Gosling. I think he's a great actor, he's hilarious, he's charming, so I was going to see the film no matter what. And the more I looked into it, the more promising it got. It's directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who have done some amazing work with the Lego Movie, 21 Jump Street, and seeing some interviews with them talking about their commitment to practical effects, no green screen, the author of the book himself being very happy with how it turned out. I'm telling you, if I got any more excited, I would have gotten a heart attack. So I stopped reading about it, I got myself a ticket for the very first screening in the whole country, and I was ready for this mind of mine to be blown in every way possible. Without giving away too much, Project Hail Mary is about a former molecular biologist turned middle school teacher who is sent on a dangerous space mission to basically save the world, because for some reason our sun is dimming. Over there, and I don't consider that a spoiler, he meets an alien on the exact same mission as him due to his own planet also being in danger, so they team up and things happen. As a starting point, I was very curious to see how they will approach a few specific things from the book. Not necessarily about how things look and sound, which we'll get to, but the bigger picture things, like the structure, the characters, and the plot. So, believe me, it hurts my soul to say it, but not even 10 minutes in, I could pinpoint a big fundamental issue. Something that goes far beyond the obvious challenges of adapting a book, that, in my opinion, affects the film, regardless if you have read it or not. But before we get to that, as it is a bit spoilery, there is a lot to like about the movie. Everything in it looked either exactly how I imagined it, or better. The set design alone is phenomenal, and I could feel that commitment to practicality. And the biggest, most amazing thing about it was the decision to make Rocky, the alien, an actual real-life puppet. Just like that old school movie magic from the pre-2000s. Apparently, it took 5 people to control him, and man did it pay off. He really feels alive, he's a part of the environment, and as an added bonus, it makes a big difference to give Ryan Gosling a tangible scene partner. Speaking of which, I was afraid I'd be distracted by how handsome he is, but I was professional and I managed to focus on his fantastic performance. He's likable, funny, and when it's time to show a deeper emotion, he pulls it off easily. They also did a great job with Rocky. The movements, the voice, the body language, and just in general, the relationship between the two is as good as any fan of the book would have hoped for. There was a lot of humor, a lot of physical comedy, a lot of jokes that landed really well, particularly when he was trying to find a voice for Rocky, or when he was vlogging right after he moved into his ship, which for me was by far the funniest part of the film. And to me, it feels like they were going for an optimistic, upbeat, awe-inspiring, classic adventure, which is totally okay, but also where that big fundamental issue begins. Now, I am fully aware of the fact that adapting a book is a very difficult challenge, and it is almost physically impossible to fit everything into it. We've all heard about Dune and the first attempt biting way more than it could chew, which is exactly why Denis Villeneuve decided to split one book into 2 movies in order to properly tell the story. I recognize that some sacrifices have to be made, one of which I was completely fine with was to shorten all the sciencey stuff. In the book, there are a lot of experiments described in great detail that I won't pretend to be smart enough to understand, so when I was reading it, I was sort of rushing through them in order to get back to the main story. There were some things they decided to add that I wouldn't necessarily agree with, but more on that later, as well as a few things they decided to remove that could be considered important. But even then, I get it. There's only so much you can fit in 2.5 hours. So, what is that big fundamental issue? To me, it's pacing. See, the book is almost two different books combined into one. The first half feels like a scary mystery. It's about a man who wakes up on a spaceship with no memory at all. He cannot even remember his own name, let alone what's going on. And it's only through a series of slow burn flashbacks that we, together with him, learn that he's not an astronaut, he was forced to go there against his will, and that the fate of the entire universe depends on him. That part is tense and heavy, like a really good thriller. Then, as soon as he meets Rocky, the second half changes gears and it becomes a beautiful story about friendship and teamwork. It's what everyone loves about this book. It's really fun to see them first learn how to communicate at all, then learn about each other's planets and species, and then develop a great relationship as they tackle the problem together. So, because the film knows that's exactly where the heart of the story is, it's trying to get there as fast as possible. And by doing so, at least for me, a lot of the important beats lost their impact. I could not feel how truly desperate and confused he was when he woke up on that ship. I couldn't feel the struggle to regain his memory. I couldn't feel the devastating loneliness of being stranded alone in space. During the flashbacks, we set up the stakes so quickly that it barely feels like a world-ending event. And if I had not read the book, I don't think I would have realized just how precious one of those little cells for his experiments were, and how big of a deal it was that he was allowed to work on it at all. We move so quickly that in my notes from the theater, I have written on almost every page, "too fast." Together with Ryan Hot AF. If you can read it, it's hard to write in the dark. I don't even know what this one says. Anyways, the first half hour almost feels like a very long montage, and you can pinpoint the exact moment when the film is finally able to take a breath and slow down. Those few scenes where it actually took its time, like when he found out he has a chance of returning back to Earth, and we spent that moment with him, is when it really shines. And I just wish there was a little bit more of that. It's because I didn't see enough of him being resentful about being sent there against his will, or coming in terms with the fact that it is a one-way ticket, or being much more hesitant with helping back on Earth before he left. All of that leads to his big hero moment towards the end of the film being somewhat less satisfying. On a similar note, had we seen more of just how lonely he was in space, his friendship with Rocky would be even more unlikely and special. I also wish, instead of a romantic subplot, to have seen how insanely powerful Strat was. I mean, she's literally above any government. She has unlimited money, unlimited access, and is in a way the most powerful person on the planet, which to me is a way more interesting character. So, thinking about it, my explanation is that it all leads back to the tone. If we were to actually spend more time on those things, the film would have ended up being considerably darker, and for me, the biggest example of that is the ending. The ending is by far the thing that I love the most about the book, and although they didn't change it, it's the exact same ending in the movie, the tone is quite a bit different. What I mean by that is that in the book, I would describe the ending as bittersweet. I had tears in my eyes, I couldn't stop thinking about it, it really got me. But in the movie, there is a lot more sweet and a lot less bitter, which to me takes away a little bit from the big decision that the character had to make. But I get it. That was the tone. What they wanted to bring out from the book was the optimism and the adventure. And if that was the goal, it was a success. I still really enjoyed the movie. I would recommend anyone to see it. I mean, this shot alone was worth the ticket price. And most of all, you can tell it had a heart. They didn't phone it in, and clearly, everyone had a ton of passion for the project. So while I personally would have gravitated towards a more grounded, gritty version of the story, I can appreciate a film that is having a good time and leaves you feeling good after. So that is Project Hail Mary. Have you seen it? Do you want to see it? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them, and I'll see you in the next one.